What's going on, guys? MoneyGuy here, and today I'm back with another Storytime video. Now, for today's story, we're just gonna get right in, okay? So, this story starts back in 8th grade English. Now, if you guys remember my second Storytime video with, Katie, yeah, this is the same English class that I was in with Katie. And so, one of my best friends at the time, we'll call him Sam. He was also in this class. And so, as I said, with Katie, I would always try to make jokes and make her laugh and stuff. And so, basically, I was always a jokester in this, as much not one of those actual jokesters you all had in class, but as much as of a jokester a shy person could be, okay? So anyways, this one day in English class, our teacher gave us this assignment of where we had to we were doing a debate, and we had to argue whether technology, whether the improvement of technology has been better or worse for humanity. It was something like that. I don't know, but either way, we basically got split up into groups, and so the group I was in had both Sam and Katie in it, and also a few other kids. And so basically, the part we were debating for the side that technology has been good for humanity. And so basically, our group, there weren't really any leader talkative people, so I sort of took that position. And so basically, I was coming up with all the ideas and stuff, and then we could use one example in our debate. And so I told the teacher, I was like, does the example have to be a real world example, or can it be made up? And she was like, oh, it's just this is just a friendly debate or whatever, so if you guys can't think of a good real life example, you can just make up a fake one. And so again, me being the person trying to impress Katie, and also with Sam being in here and trying to impress him as well as my friend, I made up this example of typical blonde white girl who likes Starbucks and uses her phone for everything. And I named her Stacy Wells. And now the name has significance because, well, Stacy doesn't really have any significance at all. I just went with Stacy because as there are so many white girl names, and basically I didn't want to use any of them that were in our class or that I knew of. And I didn't know any Stacys, and that was just one of the first names that popped into my head. So I was like, you know what, let's just use Stacy. And then Wells was because at the time I was watching a lot of the show. I don't know if you've ever seen it. It's called The Flash. There's a character who's Dr. Wells. So I was just like, Stacy, Wells, put them together. Why not? There you go. And basically the whole premise for the debate was just that she was, for some more context, I just recently seen Finding Nemo in one of my other classes, and it was one of my favorite movies at the time. And so I just said she had extreme short-term memory loss like Dory. And so yeah, she basically just used her phone to remember everything, and she used Siri to tell her what to eat, how to use the remote control, stuff like that. And so basically when it was our turn to present in for the debate, and I used that in my example, everyone in the class was laughing or had to laugh at it because I literally said oh, technology advancement has been for the better because Stacy Wells, who is a blonde white girl who likes Starbucks, uses her phone every day because of her short-term memory loss to help her with everyday activities. And so people knowing that I was shy and didn't talk much, they all got to laugh at me saying that. And so yeah, obviously it wasn't enough to fully win over Katie, because we all know how that story goes. But yeah, most people, they would have just left it at that, you know. It just would have been one of those like one-time things you did at class to get a laugh, and then that was that. But for some reason, like Stacey Wells, like that character I created, had always like just stuck in the back of my mind for some reason. So next year, when we went to high school, I had taken this creative writing class, because something you guys might not know about me is that I actually love writing. Like, I love writing short stories, poems, things like that. And basically, my friend, like my best friend, not Sam, but like Connor. You guys know Connor, right? He had told me that his sister had taken a creative writing class in high school and that it was a lot of fun. So I decided, hey, you know, I need this extra elective, so might as well just take creative writing. And so for that class, when we had our final, I didn't really know what I wanted to write, but for some reason, like this Stacey Wells character, like I just like remembered it. I was like, you know, I think I'll write a story about her as my final. You know, I'd always wanted to like do something more with her, and now I have a chance, right? But the one problem with that was that I kind of was a big procrastinator, and so I decided to wait until the night before our final was due to actually write my story. And so my Stacey Wells story ended up being really bad. I think I got like a B minus on that. Honestly, I'm very surprised I got that. It's honestly like D or F worthy. And yeah, but I guess our teacher was a little lenient. But basically, at the time, I thought it was like decent, but I knew I could have done better. But looking back on it, it is like really bad. Like every time I read it, I just cringe reading it. And that's why I'm gonna let you guys be allowed to read it as well. So if you guys want to read my old freshman Stacey Wells story, I'm gonna put it a link in the description for you guys to read it. Fair warning though, it's like really bad, and I understand if you can only get like halfway through it. Anyways, after that, Stacey Wells, she sort of just became dormant for about, 3 years. And it wasn't until senior year when I took creative writing again. And honestly, I didn't even know until I got my schedule that I'd put creative writing down as an elective, because I had literally forgotten what electives I put in down junior year for what I wanted senior year. And so I guess I must have put down creative writing, because obviously I was in that class. And so for our senior year final, a lot of the time in that class, I would just use like my previous stories, because I was like very lazy senior year, and because I had a different creative writing teacher, so that's how I got away with that. And so, but for my final, right, I thought, I was like looking through my previous stories, and I saw Stacey Wells, and I was like, I actually want to make this like good and like a better story for my final. So that's what I decided to do. And so I started writing it. Halfway through, after I'd gone through a couple of like pages of writing, I was like, I don't think this is gonna be like short enough to be for our final, because our final had like a certain word limit. I forget what it was, but I was like, the story I was making was a lot longer than that, and my like writing had evolved a lot better from like those 3 years in between, so I had like realized that I didn't want to like restrain my Stacey Wells story to this arbitrary number of words. And so like halfway through, I just decided to write a different story for my final, and I decided to like have this Stacey Wells story that I was writing as like my own different project to work on. Like now we move on to current day, and I basically plan on making this Stacey Wells story a book. Now, obviously, I'm nowhere near finished, but I will just say that, like, if you were to look at what I have written now and what I wrote before, it's like almost two completely different stories. Like, it still has like a similar like premise, but it's just like completely different and a lot better written, obviously. And so I'm not gonna share it with you guys like what I have written so far. I'm gonna save that for when my book is actually finished, but I'll make sure to let you guys read it. And so yeah, I'll make sure to let you guys have a sneak peek before it's actually finished. And so when I become a best-selling author, you guys can have the satisfaction of knowing that you were here before that. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this story. It's kind of like a weird way to put it, and again, it's because like this book is sort of my own passion project that I just like occasionally work on. But yeah, I'm glad I got to share you guys this story, and I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, leave a like. I love reading your comments. And yeah, I hope to see you guys for the next one. Peace.